So how are we doing? I thought I'd do another quick video. You all seem to enjoy the combining video. So yeah, on another hot day, we're off to find the cows. Here they come, look. They've been hiding in the shade. Yet again, we're another, heat wave number 4 for the year. Wouldn't normally expect to keep having these heat waves. Is that what you think, girl? Yeah, that bad. So, I expect they've been hiding under the trees for most of the day. I'll show you later, they're on full winter ration inside at the moment because there just isn't the grass. You may think it's all green, but once you get into it and start looking, there's actually a lot of weed here. So they're not going to get a lot of nutrition out of weeds, are they? Good girls. Hey, little heifer. You right, girls? Come on then. Good girls. So we are all year round calving herd, so we don't actually stop. We sometimes have May off because it's difficult to sort them out for the dry period, so we tend to have May off, but the rest of the year we're calving. So actually there's quite a few fresh calvers in here. Although they're grazing, you can see. Obviously we've called them to come to be milked, but they start on their graze home. But you see, she stood in a clump of nettles, so there wouldn't be that much nutrition in this. Obviously we're better than what we were, 2022, when it was extremely hot. They'd actually got no grass at all. Everything was burnt to a crisp. I say, if you looked at the satellite images from that period of time, you'd have seen what I mean. They've updated it. Google Maps have updated it recently, so you haven't got all of that data on there. I'm guessing this lot I found a nice shady, probably got a breeze through it. You can see actually most of them probably stood here for a while. So yeah, are you going to be milked now then, girls? What's up? What's up? They're always very inquisitive. See what's going on. You can tell they're warm, just how they're stood around. So did you know a dairy cow drinks anywhere between 70 and 150 litres of water a day? Especially if they're in milk production like these are. Obviously if they're dry cows they don't necessarily drink quite so much, or beef cows don't drink as much, but some of these are giving probably on average about 28 litres of milk a day. Then you can understand why they drink so much. Right, I better go for a wander, go and see if they're fully in from the field. Obviously they knew where to stand because I'm walking across this field and it's quite a breeze actually out here once we've got into the field. Trees obviously give them that little bit of shade as well. Surprising how the trees, you can see the leaves are rusting in the trees today. So obviously you're probably thinking, oh, that looks like it's got a green tinge to it. It might have a green tinge to it, but I don't think there's a lot of grass in there. This was cut for silage back in May, and once it's been silaged, they get the aftermath. So yeah, obviously if it's a wet year, then they'll get more grass. If it's a dry year, they don't get much grass at all. It's obviously saying about water. They need access to water 24/7. They've got quite a few tanks, big tanks as well, so quite a few of them can get into the tanks to get a drink throughout the day. You will have seen some of our colleagues down in the West Country where they are really dairy down there. They are struggling like we would normally struggle. You'd normally expect them to have more grass in the West Country to us. So there's actually only 6 dairy herds in Bedfordshire now. 3 of those are on the same valley. I wouldn't exactly call us where we are as a valley because it's as flat as anything. But we're all on the Ouse base. So the Ouse goes Buckingham, all around the top skirts of Bedfordshire, through Bedford, and then out. This water will be going to the Wash in a few days' time. So as I say, we're all on these river meadows that unfortunately flood when we've got a lot of water. So it's a bit of a difficult one to know what to do with this grass. So this is the River Ouse that runs behind the farm. You see, actually it's quite a wide river here, navigational at this point. Boat is taking advantage of the nice hot weather. Obviously you can see the weir, we can see that it's so dry that the weir is a bit lower. Obviously how a weir's set up, it's made so that the water comes over the middle of the weir, so that will be the last bit to dry out. But yeah, you can tell that we've got reduced. Just think what it was like when it floods. Obviously you've seen George's drone footage when it's flooded, how much water is actually going through here. So this is the point where the 2 rivers merge. So on the right we've got the Ivel, and on the left we've got the Ouse. So a minute ago we were up on that bridge. So as you can see, it's quite dry. There is a bit of green. You can see they've just nibbled it off just recently, but it's not exactly a lot of grass for them to graze and get a good quantity of food inside them. So quite a few people graze on what they call a pasture paddock system. So the paddocks are all a set area. The cows are given a certain amount per day. Then they get moved on to the next field, then the next field, and it just gives the grass some rest and some growth. They all go out with their plate readers, so they walk the grass on a meticulous way to see what grass they've got growing. Well, I don't think they're doing too much at the moment because I don't think there's a lot of grass to be had. One thing that did help us, we had about 30 mil the other weekend, which other parts of the country didn't get, so that's why our grass actually looks a little bit greener than what we would have expected it to be like. But as you can see, she's trying to get a bit of grass. And you girl, yeah, good girl, good girl. It's not exactly much, is there, sweetheart? Don't know whether you can see this, but look at the sloes on there. And the haws, obviously the spring, it was actually quite when everything was blossoming, so a lot of the flowers actually set to seed. So yeah, you would normally expect a sloe to be a lot bigger than that. Obviously they're quite small this year. So I expect the birds will soon start eating the sloes, the hawthorns, because they'll obviously want to put some weight on ready for winter. So to keep the milk yield up, they're being buffer fed twice a day once they've been milked. And once they milk, they come through here. They've got access to the silage for 4 or 5 hours till we put them out. Morning's not quite so much, but the evening we always make sure that they've been able to have a good fill before they go out. This is called having your cake and eat it. Look, how much can I actually eat rather than spill? they've got amazing long tongues. When they're grazing, the tongue will actually sort of go round the grass, and that's what they use to rasp the grass up from the ground. So if we look more closely at the ration, the main ingredient is silage. They'll have a mixture of a ryegrass and a meadow grass. That's the advantage of having bales. We're able to pick and choose what silage bales we want to put into the mix, depending on whether it's a dry bale, a wet bale. Makes the diet more palatable. Then we put some straw in at the moment. The straw's in there to help keep the butter fat high. Then they've got some homegrown wheat, which has been rolled. Homegrown beans that again have been rolled. Some rapeseed meal, which is a byproduct of the rape oil that's gone into the human industry. Some molasses for a bit of energy. She said it again, look. Minerals and some other micronutrients that they need just to keep the balance in their diet. The rumens can be rather delicate, and if it's not quite right, not balanced, then you can have problems with them. So that was a quick catch up with the girls. Obviously the main thing was to say how bad the grass is at the moment, or the lack of grass because of the lack of rain. I'll leave them munching away and I'll go and do something else. So I'll see you soon. Bye for now.